Hey guys, welcome to the channel. So today we're going to be doing something pretty simple. So a friend's grandmother of mine needs a computer wiped clean and Windows removed because her Windows installation is basically a giant mess. So the easiest thing for me to do is just install Linux Mint and get the ball rolling with that. So that's what we're going to do. So let's go ahead and get Linux Mint installed. So here's how to download Linux Mint. It's really quite easy. Basically, you just search Linux Mint download on Google. You click download Linux Mint 21 from linuxmint.com. And then you go to download, and then you go to the latest version. And then you select your desktop environment of choice. Personally, I'm an XFCE guy because it's lightweight, but Cinnamon and Mate are also good choices too. This system itself is actually running Ubuntu XFCE, but I plan on wiping this install at some point. So we'll be installing Linux Mint on this machine. So let me go to Etcher, grab my ISO for my Linux Mint image, which I downloaded right here for Cinnamon. Open. Select target. The target would be this 16 gig disk right here. Select. Then flash. It's going to prompt me for my user password. So let me type that off screen and we'll start again. Now that I've entered in my password, it's going to start flashing the drive. It's going to take about 2 or 3 minutes depending on how fast or slow your USB interface is. This is a USB 2 machine, so it's going to take a minute. So we'll wait for this to finish and then we will hop back to the other computer and get it rolling. So now we're going to attempt to install Linux Mint on this machine. So I'm trying to get the F2 set up, so let me do that. Alright, so now we're going to go into boot. Drives. Hard disk drives. So we're going to change the boot order. We can figure out how to do it on this system. There's a supervisor password in this system. Interesting. So this really is not the right tweezers for the job, but this should be able to yank this thing out. I cannot get my fingers in there. Oh, damn it. Come on, get out of there. That should clear the Cmos. I'm just not sure how to lift this assembly out. Do I pull this screw out? I guess so. It's a little weird that it screws in the power supply though. I don't understand how this is supposed to go together. I guess there's screws in the front and the back. It's a little weird, but worst comes to worst, I'll manually pop out the Cmos battery, but it's not really what I want to do because I'm not trying to take this whole system apart just to do that job. But this should now lift out. I hope. This is really not what I wanted to do. Just pop this out. Pop this out. Pop this out. Okay, now we have more access to this. So what I'm going to do, since, while I'm in here, since everything's already kind of removed, is I'm just going to reset the Cmos the hard way. Because I don't even think this is the right header. There we are. Alright, so resetting the Cmos actually doesn't work for some inexplicable reason. So you actually have to, so resetting the password doesn't actually work to alleviate the issue. What you actually have to do is, in the motherboard, if you look closely, I switched to FPV mode on this, there's actually headers right here that are responsible for resetting the Cmos and resetting the password, supervisor password, which is weird because I feel like resetting the Cmos should do it, but whatever. It's just a weird Dell thing, I guess. I've never seen that before in any kind of system. So that's a bit weird. I'm kind of not used to a password reset header, but I've seen that just removing these Cmos batteries usually does the trick, or at least resetting the Cmos. It's a bit weird. So we'll see if that fixes it. So that's also pretty confusing. If you have the plugs in, the system will just not power on, which I don't think I've ever seen before from any manufacturer. This must be a new thing from Dell. So with these jumper plugs in, not in the reset, but in the normal position, the system will not power on at all. However, it's powering on now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it off again and then turn it back on and see if that can get those supervisor passwords off this system. Because right now, I can't even change the boot order of this system. It's a bit screwy. So we'll try again. And so now after putting the plugs back in their normal position, there should not be any passwords on this system anymore. And I'm hoping that I will get liftoff from this system here shortly on the screen. And there we are. We got liftoff. So let's see if I can actually do stuff in the BIOS now. Alright, F2. I guess that's really weird. Let me try something else. So when I go into here, I'm going to move this pin over to 1 to 2 should clear it. Unless they're inverted, which is weird. So I'm going to move the pin over to 1 and 2, and we'll see what that does. So now I should be able to clear the password. It's really weird. Okay. I'll unplug this. Wait a minute, and then plug it back in, and we'll see if that fixes it. This is really weird. I don't think I've ever had a reset process quite like this for a password on the system. It's weird that it's not coupled to the BIOS being reset. It's just weird that it's its own dedicated header thing. Oh, the fan just spun. And maybe I gotta pull the header out, and then it will start. Is that how this works? That is extremely weird if that's how this works. So I'm getting no signs of life with the header in, but if you yank it out and I try turning it on, is it going to turn on? What in the world? So 1 to 2. So power, okay. Maybe this is the issue. Can turn it on now. Cannot. Let me remove both headers. Try again. Really weird how this Dell works for resetting these passwords. It's really perplexing, actually. So, no life still. Actually. Alright, so we're going to try some stuff here. So, when there's no headers in, the system will not turn on. Now it's turning on. Alright, I guess I gotta let it sit for a second. It was not turning on before. So I'll give this thing a second to do its thing. The screen's still blank. There we are. So will it let me reset the supervisor password? Invalid password. Invalid password. What the hell? Alright. Here's what we'll try doing. I'm going to restart the system. We'll take a look back at this. So, position... I'm looking at the Dell documentation. Forgotten BIOS password. You turn off the computer and disconnect the power cable from the computer and remove the jumper plug. So, let's try this. The system's dead now. So if I go and I put 1 to 2 in the PWCLR thing, that should clear it. 1 to 2 is the clear position. So this should get rid of this password. Or at least let me change it to nothing. Which it does not. Okay, now it's turning on. This is a bit weird. Alright, so now we have liftoff. So now it says, if I can get the screen, no bootable device. That's perfectly fine. That's what I want to see. If I can get up there, yep. No bootable device. So now if I go to F2, I should be able to unlock the setup. Which, I still can't do it. Password clear. 1 to 2 should clear the supervisor password. And yet I still can't do it. I can't change any of these settings. Let me do some more research. Alright, so I've been messing around with this password reset pin and I'm really unsure of how this is supposed to work here. So, now, wait, the password's gone. Neat. Alright, that was really weird and confusing on how to do that. So, you have to put it in password clear, yank it out, and then put it back in. I would expect it just to, wipe it normally. That's not super intuitive on how you do that. So now that I'm in the money, there's no supervisor password on the system, and I can keep the ball rolling. So let's get Linux Mint installed. Alright, so now we have the supervisor password cleared. Let me just turn this thing off and start reinstalling crap. So 1 to 2 is normal for the Cmos, so that should be fine. And yeah, so what I can do is I can grab this, put it back here, grab this hard drive cage shebang, put it here, and then we grab the power cable for the drive, put it here. Then we grab these cables, put them here. If I could get this thing to reach, kind of cool. All right, so push this back a little bit. There we go. So it's in. So now I should be able to get something rolling here to install my Linux Mint. So now, if I power this system on, this should be okay. I'll power this off for a second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. And it's not turning on. Okay. Why is it not turning on? Did I put the pins in 2 to 3? I probably did when I wasn't paying attention when I put this back together. So let me just pop this back again. Let's see. So 1 to 2. 2 to 3. Yeah, 2 to 3 is normal. I'll let this thing sit for a second. 1, 2, 3, 4. Give this like a minute or two. Just hold the power button to clear anything that's in there. So now if I plug this in, it should power back on. And it's not. Okay, that's weird. So does it want me to lift the headers out? What the hell? I'm confused. Why is it not? Why is it not turning on? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I guess I'll just start yanking out headers. After yank the power. I don't quite know what's going on here. So that is the Cmos clear header. And that's password clear. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. It's fine. Cmos clear. I'll just yank this out and then try to power cycle the system. Seeing if that fixes stump stuff. That's what I need to do. So I really, really hope that the supervisor password didn't rear its ugly head again. Because I can't do anything with the supervisor password because I cannot change the boot order. Let's see if something good happens here. Okay, so that's a good sign. RTC is reset. So, no supervisor password. Neat. All right, we're good. You can actually do stuff on this now. All right. So now that that's done, I'm going to pop the header back in to here. Oh, man, this is not fun. All right. 2 to 3 is normal. It's not clear. So now if I plug this back in again, this should turn on. And it does not want to. Wait. 1 to 2. Yeah. You know, unless it's like the order's inverted for some inexplicable reason, so we'll try that. We'll see if it's some dumb crap like the order's different here for like the header for these headers. So I don't understand because 1 to 2 the position on the motherboard says 2 to 3 is normal. So I don't know what order they're going in for the pins. So maybe it's something done like this. Yep, that's probably what it is. Wow, that's not intuitive. I expect the direction to be the same for both headers, but I guess not. That's not super intuitive. So now this should boot. And it does. It should boot in the Windows, which is going to be blown away. So RTC is reset. Default BIOS has been loaded. All right. So now, if I turn off the system, it should turn back on. And that does. All right, so that's cool. Alright, so is it going to boot into Windows? I think. Alright, that's exactly what I wanted to see. This can go away. Ten nine eight seven six five 4 3 2 1 0. And there we are, now ready to install Linux. I'm gonna actually record myself thwacking these screws back into place. Get this there. Alright, so that's back into place. The screw placement isn't super intuitive with this. I need to switch my bit to the right one because I'm using the flathead right now. Yeah, that's the right one. Yeah, so Dell makes it really intuitive to reset the supervisor password on these. I don't understand who thought that process would be good. It should behave like Lenovo systems where like you can leave the header in the system and not have to yank it out. Just push this down a bit. It's just a bit weird how that whole thing works. I'm used to Lenovo systems and how they behave when you reset the Cmos. So it's a little weird to me that you have to take a header in and put it back in and take it out. I don't quite understand that whole process. But the password's reset, so now I can actually change the boot order, which is exactly what I needed to do to begin with. Alright, so that's all. I'll put that together. So now I should be able to boot into Linux Mint. So let me change the boot order here. Alright, so now if I go in here, I should be able to, I think I gotta hold down the leaders, or actually, what's easier is if I do just shift restart. That's easier to do. And then I can change the boot order from there. So, yeah. Let's get this thing rolling. I'll actually move this back a little bit because it's kind of probably hard to see everything on the screen. Alright, move the camera to here. Okay, so now that's booted. I'm gonna hold shift and restart. Yeah, this is why Windows on a hard drive is garbage. I don't know who this user is actually, so they're getting blown away. We're taking that scorched earth approach when it comes to fixing this computer. Not really fixing it, just making it impossible to have any kind of viruses or anything like that or get compromised. The system's locked down, you can't really break yourself. Let's see here. Okay. So now I wait more. Can I reboot? Control delete. It's not working either. Yeah, that's where Windows on a hard drive is almost unusable. All right, so I do this, I hold shift, and then restart. That should get me into the BIOS, which is what I need to do. So if I keep holding shift, all right, so now we're ready to do this. So let's go troubleshoot, advanced options, then UEFI firmware settings. Restart, and that should get us in the UEFI settings. And now we're in the BIOS. So now that we're in the BIOS, we're going to change the boot order. So what we really want to do is the PMAP drive, which has Linux Mint on there. So we're going to go save changes, exit, and now it should boot from the flash drive installed in the system first. So now we have Linux Mint install going. So we're going to install it. It's booting you now. It's going to take a second to boot, so we'll just wait for that. Okay. So now we should be getting ourselves into Linux Mint. Hopefully. Now look, it's recognizing my my monitor because the resolution's right now. So now we're booted in. So let's go install Linux Mint. Okay, so now ready to install. So now, use English US as our keyboard layout. Install multimedia codecs. No secure boot for us. So yep, erase disk. Install now. Yep, continue. York. We're going to call this Shorty. Actually, that's the name of the computer, so we're going to do that. Password is this, so we're going to do this. Oh, wrong password. I'll just change his name. So now we're going to install this, and I'll be right back. So Linux Mint's now installed on this machine, so what we're going to do is we're going to create another user. Yeah, I forgot how slow the next one on the hard drive is. It's really not an optimal setup, but working with what I got. Whew, this takes forever. There we are. So now we go to users, groups. Add a user. Let's see. Login. Yeah. Now if I reboot the system, this should automatically log in the other user. if I did this correctly, and open up the terminal, there should be the user that I wanted to auto log in. All right. So now we're good to go. This install of Linux is done.